the best fielding teams in all of baseball arrived at Citizens Bank Park and has misjudged, mishandled, and mistakenly tossed the ball all around the fields. The Phillies have capitalized on those miscues on 2 straight nights, setting up a possible sweep to start the second half. It is the hottest day of the year here in Philadelphia, but fans are coming out, getting a great giveaway, and also getting a chance to see the man with the white beard. Santa Claus is here as the Phillies celebrate Christmas in July a little early. The Phillies ball girls accepting toys for their toy drive. That'll go on till the 3rd inning, and there's even spots where you can cool off here at Citizens Bank Park. It's Weekends with Schmidt, brought to you by Acme Markets. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Mike Schmidt and Matt Stairs. We get set for Cole Hamels pitching here this afternoon, and the Phillies are going for a sweep. How about that? And Cole here at home. Could this be his last home game in a Phillies uniform? Obviously, the trade deadline is getting closer. 152 starts here at Citizens Bank Park. He's 12 games over 500. An excellent ERA, 7 postseason starts. Mike, you played with a great left-hander in Steve Carlton. It would be hard for the Phillies to say goodbye to this left-hander.
Yeah, it sure would. It is a bittersweet day here at Citizens Bank Park for that reason. It could possibly be Cole Hamels' last start in a Phillies uniform. He has been the Steve Carlton for this team for about 10 years now. Of course, the last 2 or 3 years, he's been victim of poor run support, as everybody knows. His career stats here for us would be even better if he had gotten that same kind of run support he got back in the heyday in 08 to 011. You know, timing is everything, Tommy, and it's not good timing for Cole right now and the Phillies. They may be forced to trade Cole Hamels to try and bring some stud young players to our ball club for this whole rebuilding process, and that's just the reality of our game nowadays. I'd hate to say goodbye to Cole Hamels, but it may happen.
Yeah, in fact, as you said, a reality of today's ball game. Well, Matt, you played with him as a teammate. What kind of teammate was Cole Hamels during those days?
Well, he was tremendous. When I got traded over here in 2008, you kind of sit out there and you're like, okay, who am I going to talk to? Cole Hamels came over, said hello right away, made me feel comfortable. 09, and picked my brain a lot about being a left-handed hitter, facing left-handed pitchers, what I was looking, what left-handed strengths are, talking about the 2 seamers inside. Very good teammate, a guy that cares about his teammate and goes that extra mile to make sure that you feel comfortable when you walk in that locker room.
How about the postseason, too, Mike? I mean, his postseason was unbelievable.
And durability.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 things you want to look at if you're acquiring Cole Hamels. It's you getting yourself a stud when the postseason comes around. So more than likely, if he goes, it'll be to a team that's going to be in the postseason. And durability. I mean, what can you say in this day and age? I think it was exception a couple little arm or elbow issues. Small. He's been averaging over 30 starts a year for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, hopefully this is not his last home start in his career here at Citizens Bank Park, but we shall see. 19th start of the season for Cole, 19th for Dan Herron. He has been surprisingly good for the Marlins. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. One deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. Between the Phillies and the Miami Marlins. Phillies are looking for a series sweep this afternoon. It is a blistering hot afternoon. Fans are settling into their seats. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Ichiro leads it off in right field. Martin Prado bats second at third base. Christian Yelich hits third, followed by Casey McGee and Adeiny Echeverria. Cole Gillespie's the center fielder. He'll bat sixth. The bottom third is Rojas, now at second base. Mathis behind the plate, and Dan Herron batting ninth. They'll face left-hander Cole Hamels. 5-7, 3.63 ERA. Matt, his earned run average went from 3.02 to 3.63 with his last outing. Career highs in categories that we didn't anticipate for Cole Hamels last time out.
Yeah, we'll forget about that last start. Now we're in the second half, and you can see the scouting report with Cole Hamels. Average fastball 92.2 miles an hour. Throws all four pitches at any time. And the league is sitting $184 versus his changeup and $113 versus the curveball.
All right, well, Ichiro Suzuki has faced him 7 times during his illustrious career. He'll lead it off. 2 for 5 so far in this series. 1 hit last night, and he swings at the first pitch, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Ichiro's overall numbers pale in comparison to his lifetime numbers. He has a chance to become the 9th major league batter to reach 2,900 hits and 500 stolen bases in his career. The last to do it was Barry Bonds. Inside, 2-1. Out to right field, Dominic Brown. That one's over his head and off the scoreboard. Brown gets to it quickly. His throw will hold Ichiro at first.
Yeah, there you go. A real nice play.
Great decision just to let it go over his head and play it off the wall instead of going back toward the scoreboard.
Here it is right here. I find it hard. Geez, almost hard to believe a ball can get between an outfielder and the wall here at Citizens Bank Park.
Strong arm.
Played it very nicely off that wall, which is a tough wall to play because it's chain link.
Right. It doesn't bounce directly to you. It could go anyway.
Here's Prado, who takes inside. It's 1-0. Not a bad spot. Cole just asked John Tumpane where it was. Martin Prado, 275. He's 3 for 8 in this series. A 300 hitter against the Phils lifetime. John Hirschbeck's the crew chief over at first.
If I'm not mistaken, Prado has almost 70 at-bats against Cole Hamels.
67 at-bats.
67.
More than 70 plate appearances, but yeah, 67 at-bats. He's hitting .313 lifetime against him.
Coming off of a four rope night last night. The first one, the first time up, got caught. Lined out to Kodiashi in left field, and then hit a couple doubles and a single, I believe.
Yeah, 2 doubles, a single. He has 3 hits overall in this series. How about 11 home runs lifetime against the Phillies?
A lot of bats.
Let me correct that. 14 home runs lifetime against the Phillies.
Even more at bats.
He got him a changeup that he pops up. Hernandez says he has it, and 1 away. All right, men, it's the time you've been waiting for. Our Nissan keys to today's ball game.
Well, the key for me is going to be all about Herron. Sorry, he's the guy that has that delay in his windup. So I like to see the on-deck circles, hitters on the on-deck circle, get their timing down before you get in the batter's box.
The key for me is make this one a breeze for Cole. You know, if in fact it is his last Phillies start, let's get him some runs and let him have some fun on the mound.
Yeah, he has front run very well during his career when the Phillies have given him 3 or more runs. First pitch is outside. It's 1-0. He's just missing with some of these fastballs here in the first. Yelich 263, 5 home runs, 2 for 8 in the series. Robbed last night by Ben Revere. And in another at bat, robbed by Freddie Galvis and Maikel Franco.
Versus Cole Hamels, the outfield will play him slight opposite field in the thinking that he's going to hit the ball to left field, left center.
which is what he did last night in that ball that Revere caught. I'm talking to Ben today, and he even said this with Murph last night. He said, I didn't think the ball was going to carry that much. He's a shockingly strong guy.
Ben pretty much summed the game up well in that interview, did he not? He covered the whole game.
Yeah, he went first to second to third. Ichiro was going on that pitch. Matt, can you do me a favor and go downstairs and ask the gentleman who just whistled to not whistle again like that? Did you hear that whistle through the crowd, Mike?
Yeah, but I didn't notice it like you did. You have some high-powered hearing.
I guess so.
Maybe it was a dog whistle.
Well,
like
if you turn this button right here, Mike, up a little bit, you'll hear everything a lot louder.
Oh, thank you. I can hear it in my right ear now.
The ball is inside. It's 2-2.
I just accepted that my right ear was going bad. That is a volume on my right ear.
Yes, it is.
I learn something every day at this job. Stereo.
They just invented it. Well, they'll keep an eye on Ichiro. As we mentioned, Ichiro 8 for 12 this year. They're trying to steal. Stole a base earlier in this series. Trying to get Yelich here. Yelich hitting 143 against Hamels.
Such an important pitch, 2-2. You want to throw a strike, put him in play. Don't want to go to 3-2.
Throws him a curveball. It was a good pitch. They thought about Ichiro at second, but instead he gets the out. 1-3 on the putout. Yeah, they're 2 away. He might have had a chance to get Ichiro at second base, but
not a bad play. You never like that runner to go to scoring position at second base, but you see on the replay here, I mean, it would have taken a really good, hard, aggressive throw. It probably would have got him. I think there was some communication lacking there with Chooch. And just Cole walked back to the mound. He looked at him and said he couldn't hear him.
Well, now they'll go after Casey McGee with a runner in scoring position. McGee, 333 with the Marlins. Overall, with his numbers with the Giants, hitting 223. Signed a 1-year, $4 million contract with the Giants during the offseason. They waived him, and he was picked up by the team that he picked up 174 hits with last year, where he was the National League Comeback Player of the Year.
And that was post-Stanton injury, correct? Or it was good timing if they picked him up before Stanton went down.
Nope, it was right after Stanton. Yep.
And the Marlins got a player for a cheap price. All they have to do is pay him the minimum salary.
Way outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Quick conversation between Hamels and Ruiz.
And another strange thing about the team, you know, with this Marcell Ozuna going to AAA, we were looking at his numbers, and I mean they're not great compared to his previous year, but we have 5 home runs and 250, 28 RBIs.
Yep.
Yeah, his number, he was up at 289 and then went in a 1 for 36 slump. Ichiro was way off the second base bag.
And D. Gordon. So, you know, we are catching the Marlins without 3 of their key players.
Chopper to third. And Maikel Franco takes a big hop. Casey McGee, an easy target. Side is retired. All right, so it took 17 pitches, but Cole Hamels is through the top of the first. We'll go to the bottom of the first inning. Folks getting a little shade as this game just gets underway. 4-game series. Let's take a look at the Phils lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Revere, Hernandez, and Franco, followed by Howard, Brown, and Herrera. At the bottom third of Freddie Galvis, Carlos Ruiz, and Cole Hamels. They will face right-hander Dan Herron, who's had a surprisingly solid year this year for the Marlins, 7-5, an ERA of 3.24. He's faced the Phillies twice already this year. He was 1-1 with a 3.00. He's gone 6 innings in both of those games. Matt, 15 home runs allowed, but I think they've gotten more out of Dan Herron than they expected.
Well, they have, and he can easily have 10 wins this year. The bullpen has blown a few, and as you see right there, the scouting report, he'll max out 87 miles an hour, 4-pitch pitcher. He throws a slider 41.8% of the time, his fastball 41.4% of the time. The only other guy I knew that threw more sliders than fastball was Larry Anderson.
He's over in that booth right over there.
And Revere will lead it off for the Phils, and Revere takes a strike. It's 0-1. He's 2 for 7 in this series.
Had a nice long chat with Pete McCannon earlier this morning, and we chatted a little bit about lineups because it struck me that Pete moves the lineup around a little bit, and guys like Cody came out right after the break hitting 5th, and next day he hit 8th, and here we go, Carlos dropping from the 5 hole down to the 8th hole, and now Dominic Brown's bumped up to the 5 hole. And I said, you must pay a lot of attention to stats against a particular starting pitcher. He said, yeah, he does. So the lineup today is really loaded with left-handers. He did say, I had a little problem with who did what against Herron, so I just decided to load up with left-handers. And we do have one right-handed hitter in the lineup, right? Mikhail Franco.
Yep, that's the only one.
No, Ruiz.
Oh, yeah, Carlos.
Oh, sorry, Carlos. But he went dominant left-handers right after Howard.
Yep. Well, it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ben Revere. Revere 12 of 13, hitting 12 of 13, and 30 of 36. To raise his average to 297. Breaks his bat. Head of the bat goes past Dan Herron.
Yeah, this is fighting that ball off, thinking the fastball away, and it right under your knuckles.
The way things are going for Revere, though, I thought that was going to squirt right inside the third base bag.
Well, that's making him jam you. You know how you say, make him jam you. Stay on the ball.
Not that bad, though.
Well, just pieces for Tucker to pick up.
He made the adjustment. Same pitch.
He opened up. He sure did. All right, this next one's going to be right back through the middle. Right back through the middle. Fly ball center field, and Gillespie lays back on it. And 1 away here in the bottom of the first. That'll bring Cesar Hernandez to the plate. A 7-pitch at bat for Ben Revere. Well, I mentioned that this is sorry, Matt, this is Christmas in July celebration here at Citizens Bank Park. So we'll be showing you some of the players' headshots on the video board from time to time. You saw Ben dressed like an elf. And Cesar Hernandez, well, he looks like he's ready for a winter day in Venezuela. That pitch is low and in. 1 ball, no strikes. There you go. Santa cap on, the sweater.
Looks 12.
He does look really young. Grounds that one foul. One Samuel will take care of it. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Gary Andrews. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Gary will win $200. Cesar is 1 for his last 25, which is why his average has dipped from a hair over 300 to down to 272. A couple walks in this series, 0 for 6 overall. Outside.
Gotta be in there.
ball to first, and it's scooped up by McGee. And there are 2 outs. I feel like I'm at a Little League game or an American Legion game. We have a gentleman that's right near the crowd mic that is barking out orders with each passing pitch. Here's Franco. I like that, though. Breaking ball outside, 2 balls and no strikes to Franco. Whereas Cole Hamels gets very little run support, guys, Dan Herron seems to get a boatload. 4.7 runs per game, which it's a pretty good amount of run support. And there's a line drive right at Martin Prado, and the side is retired. Phillies go down in order. 15 pitches for Dan Herron. On to the seconds. No score. Bay Rays, who wear number 27, and you can enjoy a special offer of 2 tickets for $27 in selected areas. Visit Phillies.com/NOLA to order those tickets. You can stop by the box office as well. Aaron will arrive tomorrow at some point. He's not allowed to be in the clubhouse or participate in any kind of activities until he's placed on the 25-man roster officially, so that's why he's not here as of yet. Danny Echeverria will lead things off for the Marlins. He takes low, 1 ball, no strikes.
That must be a new rule, because in the past you could call kids up,
yep,
and they could work out with the team.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know when the rule was implemented. Inside, 2-1.
Because the Expos used to call up Greg Colburn in September, didn't put him on the roster, made him work out a lot, throw to second base a lot, blew his elbow out, and never caught again.
Oh, boy.
So maybe that's the reason why they don't allow people to come up to the major leagues to work out.
Well, I think everybody's excited to see him in his first start here. We got a chance to see him in spring training. Ground ball toward the right side, and it's going to get past Cesar, base hit. So Echeverria is aboard. It's his 3rd hit of the series.
Well, we got him out a couple key times in last night's game.
Absolutely.
He may have 3 hits in the series, but he made a couple of key outs for us last night. His men on second and third, the tying run at second base with the K on that high fastball from Giles. He pokes a little 3-1 change up, maybe the other way there for a base hit.
Well, Echeverria does have speed. He's only stolen 4 bags this year. He's been caught 1 time. Marlins have hit into 67 double plays. As the ball sneaks into the crowd.
No. It fell right in the lap of the what do you call the guy that authenticator?
Oh, the authenticator.
Yeah.
I thought it snuck right.
He caught it right there. Boom. Boom.
He's got to authenticate that and maybe put it right on his mantle. There's a liner out toward left center field. It'll drop for a hit. Echeverria is on his way to third. The throw goes to second. So the Marlins have runners on first and third with nobody out. Tomorrow morning, wake up for the most important show of your day. John Feinstein and Jim Salisbury are talking about the approaching MLB trade deadline. And Steve Kyler gives his insight on the Sixers' performance at the Summer League in Vegas. Watch Breakfast on Broad weekday mornings from 6 until 8 over on the Comcast Network. New Jersey native and World Cup champion Carly Lloyd will be on later on this week on Breakfast on Broad on Wednesday. So the Phillies will set up for 2 here with Miguel Rojas coming up. Rojas hitting $136.
Yeah, about the only place that you'll see a play at the plate will be like a slow roller to possibly first or third for sure. It should just follow it right into home plate if the runner on third goes on contact, and they generally do that to stay out of the knowing the middle infielders are going for the double play.
Yeah, now this is a tricky spot for Hamels because you have first and third with nobody out, but the bottom third of the order for the Marlins, Rojas, Mathis, and of course the pitcher, they're not, Ruth and Gehrig and all those guys. That one towards first, just past Ryan Howard, and a run will score. Over to third goes Gillespie. It's 1-0 Marlins.
Well, Cole was not happy with that pitch. I think if Hank kind of hung up right out over the plate, and of course the hitter was in the get the run in frame of mind, make contact. He pokes it the other way out of the reach of Ryan Howard. You see it look right out there over the plate. It's the pitch that says here, make contact. After having an 0-2 count.
Yeah, 2 perfectly placed fastballs too.
You're a strikeout and a double play ball from being out of the inning.
Change up, and it's swung on by Mathis and missed. It's 0-1. Well, the Marlins have bounced into 14 double plays in July. That's among the top 5. They've been good all year, but in July things have changed for them.
Not a good mixture when you have 14 double plays in July and 15 unearned runs in July.
Yeah, you're
it's
not
a long and a short month.
Yeah, you're not erasing all those issues.
No.
Near the dirt, 2-1.
And 5 in a week of the July month, you're not playing.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Change up, but it's 2-2. He's gotten 2 strikes in this at bat with 2 very good changeups.
You're on.
Fans with fans. That's right.
That's a good item to have today. I like to have the concession for that baby.
You're not into the hot chocolate on a day like this?
I already tried to drink a cup of coffee and had to throw it out.
Well,
good strikeout. Yeah.
Goes back to that changeup.
Yeah, this is probably the pitch you wish you threw last hitter 0-2 instead of throwing a curveball. Now you're in a situation, a bunt situation, laying a sacrifice. And Mike, you know a lot better than I would. Michael Franco has to keep an eye on, 1, the bunter, and 2, the base runner behind him, doesn't he?
Yeah, if he does bunt it to third, we'll see what happens.
Bunts it toward first. Died. It's a safety squeeze, and the run will score. Hamels dropped the ball, but the out is recorded at first. I don't know what that hit after it hit the bat and then the ground, but it took an odd hop. But it's 2-0 Marlins on top.
Well, for sure he gets credit for a good bunt. You know, it's a good sacrifice bunt. Hamels was on it, and the runner actually came down about halfway. He takes a peek at home, but he has no ball in his hand. That calls for another. This one he didn't throw away. That's the end of those, though. Okay.
The ball just stayed down on him.
He had a chance to get him at the plate, too, just because he's a lefty and he was turned that way. All right, so 2-0 Marlins. They have 4 hits, 3 in this inning, and that one gets away from Ruiz. Over to third base goes Rojas. And a wild pitch. Ichiro singled his first time up off the fence in right field. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I would think the changeup, low and away, changeup outer half would be a good pitch to Ichiro while he's running to first base. You know, and
he may run out of bat.
You would think that. But I think he's got a go-go gadget arms right when he does that, because all of a sudden he gets the extension to hit the ball to left field. It's amazing his plate coverage.
That's the old hands back theory, too. He may be moving toward first base, but his hands are back. Always wondered why right-handers can't hit with that style, but left-handers can.
Out towards second, backhanded by Hernandez, and the side is retired. However, the Marlins do strike for 2. They leave 1 over at third. They get 3 base hits in the inning. Middle of the second, 2-0. Marlins on top. Run the bases for fans 14 and under. Come on out, see the Phils wrap up their homestand before they hit the road. You can get tickets by going to Phillies.com. Well, it's a day to stay hydrated, obviously, and to stay under the cover as best you possibly can. That's undercover. And in a spot where you're not blocking anybody's view down near the left field foul pole. Ryan Howard will lead it off. Howard 2 for 8 in the series. Inside 1-0. Nice bow tie Howard's got going there. Matt, I wonder if you played what they would have you dressed up as.
Santa.
Yep, I would think so.
You set me up there, Tom.
It did cross my mind.
Keebler elf.
In the air to right field. Doesn't have enough. Ichiro going back. It is. Wow, does it have enough? Number 350 over the AT&T sign. Ryan Howard has just become the 3rd Philly to hit home run number 350.
Now, we talked about him last night, right?
Yep.
And when was the last time you saw Ryan Howard pull a ball that far?
2009.
All right. I'm telling you, something's going on with that swing.
Tied for 91st all-time with Chili Davis, 1 away from the great Dick Allen. Schmitty hit number 350 in a Phillies uniform, of course, hit all 548 in a Phillies uniform. Jim Thome hit number 350 in a Phillies uniform. And now Ryan Howard becomes another in that category, wearing a Philadelphia Phillies uniform, hitting number 350. But he's hit them all, like you, Mike, in a Fightin' Phillies uniform.
That was a blast.
Makes a winner out of Gary Andrews in our McDonald's home run jackpot. Gary's won $200. Boy, Rojas had to go a long way to get that one. 1 out.
Here's Howard's swing. See how his hand. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's holding his hands back a split second longer, and it just putting so much. What do you call it? Energy into his swing. For extension.
So loud.
It's so high, and it just took off. Well, that is a good sign. It's number 15 on the year, 48 RBIs. Here's Odubel Herrera hitting 274. He takes outside, 1-0.
You didn't talk to him this morning, did you? I really would like to know if he's.
I did.
Yes.
Yep. We had a conversation.
Anything, some similar to what we talked about last night is Odubel's going in the gap.
And Odubel has another extra base hit. It's his second one of the series. His 20th double of the year.
20 doubles. That's why we call him O-double. But that's a lot of doubles for, just past the halfway point.
Yep.
I think it's a lot of doubles for a Rule 5 kid.
Yeah.
I mean, really it is. I mean, that's a nice swing, getting his timing down. We've seen it the last 2 nights. His appearances, pinch hit double, pinch hit single. Yeah, and that's one of the things where he's getting that foot up early, riding that back leg, and having a very good swing.
Well, he's in scoring position now. Freddie Galvis is the batter. Galvis 1 for 7 in this series. Takes a strike. It's 0-1.
And going back to your question about with Ryan, just talking, and I said, if you change the thing, last couple of days you looked, he says, you've seen the ball, everything's slowing down to him right now.
That's good.
And which is nice. He said the ball's getting a little deeper, feels good. A lot of players will do certain things, and a lot of players will do certain things and have no idea they're doing it. Because it's just the natural movement of his hands going back when his foot's going down.
One ball, one strike. And a foul ball, it's 1-2. 409 feet for Howard on that home run.
And I think the last time I saw him hit one up that far was against the Washington Nationals versus... No, I can remember. It was a 2-0 changeup. I cannot remember the guy's name.
That threw the changeup?
Yes.
Not Pfister, was it?
No.
Clifford?
No.
I'm thinking guys with changeups.
Starter. Latino.
Oh, that would be.
It's a late cutter right there off the back thigh.
That would be the older guy that pitched in the World Series for the Marlins.
No, not Lovan Hernandez.
Oh, Savant's a good guess.
He was my teammate.
Who was it?
I'll tell you in a bit.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Outside, 2-2.
I used to love to hit in hot weather as it got, into July, into August, September. Hotter the better. You rather play like in a beautiful 80-degree night in San Diego, but once you got in those hot games and you got all lathered up and sweaty and the ball travels like crazy, you relax. You automatically relax.
You're
because
loose.
You don't have any jitters because you have a little, you're a little tired and a little. You don't have the energy you have on the crisp nights.
Those guys are going to be tired by the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And you look out at that pitcher and it's sweat's dripping off of him and he's losing his concentration.
Whoa! To right center field.
Freddie's in his truck. Freddie's in his truck.
Back there. 2-run home run. The Phillies have taken the lead. Number 4 for Freddie Galvis. Second home run of the inning for the Phils.
We get a kick out of this one. As soon as Freddie hit it, he went into his trot. Tell you what, he's having a nice year. I know he'd like to, he'd like to be hitting for a little bit of higher average, be a little more consistent. But if you'd have, that's a nice swing through the ball right there. Look at his drop. There you go. You said Freddie Galvis, 275, 55, 60 RBIs, plays short every day. You take it, right?
Absolutely.
In a heartbeat.
Watch out for the back.
1 ball, no strikes to Ruiz. And Carlos hits a foul down the right field line out of play. It's 1-1.
Well, what I was talking about in the keys is about his delivery. Well, I think the guys have got his timing down.
And they're also getting some runs for Cole.
Yeah.
Would have bailed him out, got him back in the game.
Absolutely.
Freddie Galvis almost did like the double toe tap that last on the home run swing.
2-1 pitch to Ruiz. That one's pulled foul down the left field line. Well, they're getting some good looks right now at Heron. That was a long one.
That's what I mean about the pitchers. They get a little blasé, they just don't. I don't know how to describe it. They just look beat up out there because they're so sweaty and wet. And they're the ones, unlike when it's cold when you're playing a game, they're the ones that get loose and they feel better. Everybody else is freezing. When it's hot, they're sweating like crazy. They're the ones that have to stay active in this heat.
I think that's a good description, Mike. Really, really hot. 94 degrees.
Yeah, and Heron was out there bending over behind the mound like he needed a water break.
Outside, and it's 3-2 to Carlos. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Ball 4, and Carlos draws a walk. As you guys so rightly honored today is National Ice Cream Day, as you presented Frank in the lunchroom with a autographed baseball. He was pushing the maple walnut today. That was a big one in the lunchroom.
Well, he's been pushing that firecracker too.
Firecracker was,
Matt didn't want any part of the firecracker. It was good. It was good. I went with my favorite, sea salt caramel.
Chuck Hernandez out to the mound. Matt went with vanilla.
No, I went with what the Hall of Famer did. I jumped on the bandwagon today.
Well, Chuck Hernandez is out there probably giving him a breather too, as Hamels is set to bat here with 1 out in the seconds.
So why can't he bring a bottle of water out there with
I don't know if there's a rule for that. That's actually a very good idea.
Here, have a swig of this.
Seriously, I don't know if there's a rule for that. Chopper back toward the middle. Base hit it to center field for Hamels. That'll put runners on first and second with one man down. All right, well, they've got Herron teetering right now. They've taken the lead with 2 home runs, and now they've got 2 on with 1 out with the top of the order coming up. I mean, it might be time for a left cross here.
Maybe we should check with our resident rules man, Matt.
Matt, can the pitching coach, why can't he bring water out? I guess he doesn't want to doctor the baseball or anything with it.
Let me ask Siri. You could. If the guy is.
Would the opposition get on you from the dugout if we put you in foul?
How about your own teammates?
No balls and 1 strike to Revere. Revere's fly to center. Up for the second time. And he pulls that one to right field. That'll be an extra base hit. A 1-hop off the scoreboard. Ruiz will score. Hamels to third, and he'll be held there. It's an RBI double for Revere. 4-2. Phillies on top.
Wow, get them while they're hot, Matt. Then Revere gets out in front of one, laces it down the right field line for a double. Would have been a triple, except for Cole conserving his energy on the base paths.
As he should.
Well, that's Brad Hands, number 52, who's going to start loosening in the pen. Phillies have scored 4 runs in the inning. They've done so on 5 hits. This is the 8th man to bat in the inning, Cesar Hernandez. The infield is back, and Hernandez rolls it to the right side. That'll get a run home. An RBI. 5-2 Phillies. And Revere moves over to third.
Well, I know Cesar broke that slump with a base hit, but he did get a run in. Every run counts today. It looks like a hitter's day, man.
I agree. Absolutely.
Franco lined out to third his first time up, so 9 men now to the plate in this inning for the Phils.
Franco lined out on a 3-0 pitch last time.
Takes it aside, 1-0. Swinging for the downs on that one, and he pops it up to third. Prado will make the catch, and the inning is over. But the Phillies bat around in the inning. They scored 5 runs. They did so on 5 base hits. Milestone home run for Ryan Howard, number 350. Got the ball rolling for the Phils. That was a deep one over the AT&T side. And then Freddie Galvis deep into the gap in right center field. 5-2 Phillies as we go to the third. Go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, guys, here's the question. Who was the first outfielder in Marlins history to win a Gold Glove? The first outfielder in Marlins history to win a Gold Glove. The answer will be revealed a little later on. Martin Prado leads it off. There's a strike, and it's 1-1. All right, well, the Phillies have staked Hamels to a lead.
Did this Marlin happen to play for the Phillies as well?
He did not. Excellent question on your part, Matt. Outside. Outside, and it's 3-1. Yelich on deck. He grounded out his first time up.
What year did the Marlins come into the league?
Their first year of existence.
A lot of questions I'm asking.
Yeah. That one's fouled.
94-5 and around that range.
That was the expansion year, right?
It was expansion year with the Rockies. I believe it's 93, Matt.
That's good enough.
That one's floated out towards center field, and it'll drop in front of Odubel for a hit. So Prado picks up his fourth hit. Well, it's time now for our cold hard fact, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Lights. And the most home starts for a Phil's pitcher, Cole Hamels, at number 143, just passing Grover Cleveland Alexander. Chris Short is up next with 157. Lefty, of course, at 242. Leads the way. There's Christian Yelich, who grounded out his first time up. Swing and a miss and a high fastball. It's 0-1.
Are we allowed to do research to this
well,
question?
It's frowned upon, the research. That's off the glove of Ruiz, and up to second goes Prado. But he'll stop at second base. And they'll score that a pass ball, the fourth of the year for Carlos. I'm not sure what happened on that one.
It didn't even look like Carlos had a glove on it.
Hit something. And
the umpire right in the shoulder.
Is that what it did?
Yeah.
Maybe it was supposed to break. It was a fastball. Bing, you're right.
What?
John Payne looks like he's okay. So Prado takes his lead off second. Nobody out here in the top of the third.
Yeah, that's the best play there for the fan, you know, is when you get to carry him off the, what is that, the Hall of Fame level?
The guy in the third row behind the dugout catches it.
Yeah, you should never turn your back on that. You know, hit you in the back of the head. Never forget when that happened to me in Florida when I managed. Just leaning on the rail there in the dugout. Boom, ball hit on the facade above the You know, that second level and team all the way down, hitting in the back of the head.
Yeah, I can see that happening there.
Learn my lesson.
Yeah, the dirt blocked by Ruiz. Now 2-2. Only one strikeout so far for Cole Hamels. That was Jeff Mathis in the second. How's your research going, Matt?
Well, Ryan Howard's home run was 445 feet.
Yeah, the Phils are estimating 445.
Yeah.
We mentioned 409 from MLB. It was a long ways.
Whoa.
The ball was scorched into the crowd.
Yeah, I was when you said 409, I'm thinking, wow. I mean,
Well, Freddie Galvis went 403.
Yeah, right. That was out there at the distance that would have carried into the upper bullpen, probably.
Inside, and now 3-2. Curveball just didn't break all the way in.
Yelich is putting a heck of an at bat on Cole here.
He is. He's fouling these pitches off, and now he's run it to 3-2. Four foul balls. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. It's running Cole's pitch count up too at 54. Back toward the middle, a base hit into center field. Prado's around third, and he's going to head home. And it'll be an RBI single.
This is
Christian Yelich.
A day for hitting. Wow. That was a heck of an at-bat Yelich put on him right there. Ended up smoking the ball right by the mound. 10-pitch at-bat. The fastball ends up costing them a run.
All right, so a 3-run lead is down to 2. It's 5-3. Phillies on top. Casey McGee, who grounded out to third his first time up, will be the batter. Takes a fastball just a bit low. It's 1-0. That one is hit foul. He may have broken his bat on it. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a pitch that we haven't seen Cole Hamels throw a lot, is that two-seam fastball. But a month and a half ago, when I had a good chat with him, he was talking about it. And this is that two-seam fastball that just runs, a lot. He starts at the other third and it runs off the plate. And he says he talked to he calls it the Roy Halladay sinker. And he's got away from it a little bit.
Not forget, in Cole's last start, he gave up 6, did he not?
3 and a third, 12 hits, 9 earned.
9,
runs.
wow. 9 earnings.
9 earnings. He walked a couple, struck out 4. Lazy fly ball to shallow right center field, and Herrera is in and makes the catch. 1 away. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag PhillyPhotoDataStrongFan. All one. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Hashtag PhillyPhotoDataStrongFan.
That's right.
That's right. 1 away. And here's Echeverria, who singled his first time up and scored. Runner goes. Pitch is hit down the right field line, and Dominic Brown won't get to it. It'll go to the wall. Heading to third is Yelich. He's being waved home. And this will be an RBI double for Echeverria. And it's now a 5-4 ball game. Well, this is the 6th game this year that Cole has allowed at least 4 runs.
Yeah, this is a nice job. Sorry, Mike. This is a good, nice job hitting the ball to right field.
Right.
Dominic Brown does a nice job of playing it off the wall. Comes up and fires, but there's no cutoff man.
Right. Well, the cutoff man went to cover second on the steal, which was actually a hit and run.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Well, now they need to get some outs here because it's down to a 1-run lead after you get the 5 runs in the bottom of the second.
Not that that's an excuse. You have to, you have to see where the ball's hit, and then you got to sprint over to be the cutoff man. Right. If we did have a cutoff man, might have been a play at the plate. But the fact that Yelich runs good and took off on the pitch, allowed him to, I want to say score easily on that play, but allowed it to be a close play had we had a cutoff man. And letting the Marlins right back in this game.
You said it was a good day to hit.
Well, attention to detail seems to wane a little bit when the weather's, when it's this hot and everybody's a little lethargic on the field. The game is really moving slow.
What do you mean? We're in the top of the third already.
Comparisons between this start and the last start. 8 hits allowed already today. Swing and a miss. 1-2. I should say 7 hits allowed. He's trying to get somebody's attention. I think he wants Carlos to
inside move. Got to keep an eye on the second guy at second base.
Out of play. And it remains 1-2. .25 pitches this inning alone. 8 balls, 17 strikes. Well, it looks like both bullpens are going to be active here today, if both starters continue along this pace. Off the end of the bat into center field. Rounding third, heading for home is Echeverria. The throw by Herrera will be flipped out towards second. And the Marlins have just tied this ball game up. An RBI single for Gillespie, who is 2 for 2. And here comes Pete Buchanan. Nobody is warming up in the bullpen.
Another good at bat. Marlins are staying in the middle of the field. Good hitting with men in scoring position right back in this game. 5-5. McCannon visiting the mound.
Not Bob McClure, but Pete Buchanan. Usually when a manager goes out for the first trip, it's pretty emphatic conversation. That brings us to our Geico quote of the day. And the Geico quote of the day, Hamels dealing with the trade rumors. My job is to be able to go throw the baseball and do it as best I can in the way that I know I'm capable of doing. But you have a lot of things that are out of your control, so you have to realize that you can't try to make it something that you can control. Just worry about the things you can worry about, or you can handle, I should say. There's a foul ball.
That sort of sums it up.
All the other stuff outside you can't really worry about. Just got to worry about the job at hand. And the job at hand right here is to maybe roll a double play ball. DeFreitas starting to throw in the pen. Just missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. There goes the runner. Pitch is hit foul. Trying a little hit and run again.
Hit and run. Didn't matter if he made contact or not. He would have stole that base. Yeah. Unbelievable jump.
Well, I think they do a lot of first move running on Cole. Was with his throw to first generally takes a little time. Plus, you got Ryan that has to handle the ball over there, and Ryan is not that great at the switch, the exchange.
Boy, a lot of foul balls today too, and that's what has given them these extended at bats. You know, Yelich's was a 10-pitch at bat. We mentioned that before. But a lot of foul balls coupled with 8 hits. 30 pitches in this inning, and you've got a pitch count that's up at close to 70 at this point.
It's the top of the 3rd inning.
And Carlos can't hold on, so it remains 1-2. Out towards center field. Herrera on the run. Looks like he's got it. Makes the catch. 2 outs. And back to first goes Gillespie. And that brings Jeff Mathis to the plate. Well, that ball carried too.
Yeah, that was touched up pretty good, but not quite good enough. We got a man there.
See, Chooch is up. He wants it away. Man, that cuts the middle of the plate again.
Yeah.
Cole said after his last outing is that he wanted to throw aside to work on a few things. Says his cutter's catching too much at the plate. Having a hard time throwing his curveball for strikes as well.
Works ahead of Mathis. Mathis struck out. He's the only strikeout victim of the day for Hamels. Up high. 90 miles an hour on that fastball. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. Ruiz's throw to second, not in time. Gillespie swipes the bag, his second of the year.
Well, Mike, you're talking about going first move. As soon as that leg is coming up, these runners are going. And unfortunately, Chooch has no opportunity and no chance of throwing any of the runners out.
One ball and 2 strikes to Mathis. In the dirt. 2-2. Now you do have the pitcher up next, but you've got a guy hitting under 150, hitting 146 here.
You want to get it over right now.
You want to get over right now.
I think sweat a lot of times affects pitchers too. You know, it's hard to get a tacky feel for the ball on a day like this. There's a lot of balls floating up there, and you know, sort of just hanging, and no zip, no spin, no tight spin on the ball.
And that rosin bag right there will not help. Not on a day like this.
Slowly out towards shortstop. Galvis charges. He's got it. And the side is finally retired. But 3-run score, 38 pitches, an inning that took a little over 20 minutes to complete. And the Marlins have pulled even. We have played 2.5 onto the bottom of the third. It's the Marlins 5 and the Phillies 5. You can't go wrong when you buy right and buy your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Valle Honda dealer or visit DelValleHondaDealers.com. Bottom of the third, it's a 5-5 game. Phillies scored 5 in their half of the second, but the Marlins have tied it up with 3 in the top of the seconds. Can't wait long if you're going to get ice cream today. Nope, it's going to melt pretty quickly.
That might be round 2 for Mike and I.
Well, Ryan Howard started to rally off in the last inning. The heat has knocked some out. So Howard will lead it off. And he takes high. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Howard 11 RBIs since the 5th of July. He launched his 16th home run of the year his last time up. It was career homer number 350. And here it is.
If you didn't see it or hear it, here it is right here. An absolute blast. 445 feet, second deck. Above the AT&T sign.
That one's hit well. Deep down the right field line. It's going to hook foul, though. Well, he is seeing the ball well. Now the active leaders. Howard is 9th, 30 away from Beltran and Ramos Ramirez from Milwaukee. Torrey Hunter, number 10 at 345. One ball, 2 strikes to Howard. And that one's out toward left field. Yelich a long run. Echeverria backpedaling. Yelich says he has it. And 1 out. And here's Dominic Brown. Well, they had Dan Herron on the ropes. They scored 5 in the second. Here he is pitching in the bottom of the third.
I gotta believe Cole Hamels is done.
Well, the way DeFreitas is throwing right now, the fact that he's still throwing, I would agree with you. A disappointing 3 innings for Cole, 8 hits and 5 runs. Popped him up. Foul territory, first base side. McGee will give way to Rojas. 2 outs. Well, Toyota Alumni Weekend is coming up when the Braves come to town after this next road trip for the Phils. It all starts on Friday, July 31st. Pat Burrell Wall of Fame induction night will kick things off. You can order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Pat will be placed up on that wall right there.
The mister.
Some misting stations around Citizens Bank Park to keep yourself cool. Double bunts foul, and it's 0-1.
I don't know about that play. I think with 2 outs, guy at 20 doubles ought to go ahead and hit another double.
Yeah, he's got 6 doubles in his last 15 games, 435 during that time.
No outs, 1 out. I don't mind the bunt for a base hit, but the 2 outs, I don't think it's a good play.
Especially the way the ball's flying today.
Absolutely.
That double could turn into a homer.
Out towards center field, and Gillespie venturing back, and he reaches up at the last moment to reel it in. And the side is retired. Phillies go down in order in their half of the third. Wow. That was a 9-pitch inning for Dan Herron. We'll go to the 4th through 3, tied at 5. Coffee K-Cup pods to keep you running. Order by 11:30 and get free same-day delivery. Who but W.B. Mason. Top of the 4th inning, Phillies and the Marlins tied at 5. That's only part of the story. Justin DeFreitas takes over for Cole Hamels, who lasts only 3 innings, 1 start after lasting 3 1/3 against the Giants. So he's allowed 14 earned runs and 20 hits in his last 2 outings. So now the Phillies are going to have to manage this bullpen through the next 6 innings with DeFreitas the first guy out. Billingsley only went 5 last night. Chad does have some inflammation, according to Bob McClure, in the outside of his elbow, but he felt something in his forearm as well. So they're going to do a little more evaluating on him. So here's Herron to start the top of the 4th. First pitch is at the knees. It's 0-1. Bullpen did a heck of a job last night. They allowed 1 run in 4 innings of work. Popped foul over the dugout, and it's 0-2. .70 pitches last night for Billingsley, 76 today for Hamels.
You know, I would have thought, or would think that he probably would have only gone 1 more inning anyway. Pitch count wise, you're going to be close to 90.
I don't think it helped either having a long inning and then all of a sudden turn around and having a short inning.
Yeah.
Ran the bases.
Strikeout for DeFreitas. Just the second strikeout today for Phillies pitching. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they manage this because DeFreitas is due up third in the bottom of the fourth inning. You figure if he gets through this inning pretty quickly, they're going to have him.
He's got to hit.
Yeah, he's going to have to hit, right?
Yeah, he has to. The fourth inning, you don't want to lose a pinch hitter in the fourth inning.
He's assuming the long relief role, which they talked about before the All-Star break. Ground ball back toward the middle. Another base hit for Ichiro, his second hit of the day. 2,895 now for his career. Tomorrow night at 5, Michael Barkann is joined by Phillies top sports writers to talk about the approaching MLB trade deadline, plus Aaron Nola's upcoming big league start, and the Sixers' performance in the Summer League. Watch Philly Sports Talk presented by Comcast Business right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
I'll tell you, I'm challenging myself to keep this score sheet neat. I may run out of ink here.
It's very clean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very clean.
No, I'm just wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of filling in of diamonds.
It's going to be a lot of at-bats if it keeps up this way.
Breaking ball, and it's 0-1 to Prado. Prado has popped out to second, and he has singled and scored. Hitting a comfortable .381 against the Phillies this year. Martin Prado.
That was a strange swing there.
Well, it was a scream, too.
Yeah, I heard that.
Up and in fastball.
Thought maybe he re-injured that shoulder that he was DL'd for. Up high, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
But everybody yelling down there thinking that was a balk.
Yeah, Dan Jennings, the manager for the Marlins, was barking it. It looked like he came set.
I think it was coming set, and then his hand started bouncing a little bit.
Keep it Ichiro close. Trying to give Carlos Ruiz a little extra advantage. One ball, 2 strikes to Prado. Fouls it away. Remains 1-2. 18 foul balls for the Marlins against Cole Hamels. 76 pitches, 18 foul balls.
Wow.
And just the 1 strikeout. Really concerned with keeping Ichiro over at first base.
Which is surprising because DeFreitas has a very quick move to home. And if anything he can do is hold a little longer. But he has a pretty quick, his sidestep's pretty quick. Man, now everyone's calling time.
Yeah. outside, and it's 2-2. Goes, pitches low, throw to second base by Ruiz is in time. He got him on the shoulder. Ichiro is thrown out trying to steal. 2 outs here in the 4th inning.
Thought he tagged him on the head. Interesting.
Yeah, it may have been an upper extremity,
yeah,
head or shoulder.
I thought he had the base stolen. There would see it.
What's the head? Right shoulder. Nice call, Tom.
Yeah.
He did get him before his foot hit the bag. Yeah, right there. The way Ichiro froze for a second, I thought he was thinking, all right, I beat this. They're going to review it. Now there's ball 4, so Prado's aboard. I don't know if he does much else against anybody else in the league, but he certainly seems like he's a batting champ against the
that was a heck of that bat, too. Started off 0-2.
Here's Yelich. Yelich singled and scored his last time. He's also grounded out. Outside, 1-0. Good pitch on the outer edge. By the way, Hamels won 3 today. That's his shortest outing since September of 2011. He won 3 innings against the Atlanta Braves. Let's see what happens after the game and see how he was feeling.
Nice slider right there. That's that slider down and into left-handers where, as a left-hander, you think, man, I'm going to crush this ball. It looks so good down in there. It's an easy drop of the barrel. And you miss it by about 10 inches.
Or you fouled it off your right foot.
Yeah.
These guys are tough to put away, though, today.
Yep, they are. They're having some good at-bats.
Outside, and it's 3-2.
And I'll say it again. I don't want to overwork this thing, but I really think on hot days like this, you know, the thing that pitchers prey on a lot are hitters' over aggressiveness. And hitters are positively lethargic on a day like today. You know, you're just up there kind of looking for the ball. You're not really over aggressive. You find yourself being a better hitter.
That one missed inside, ball 4. So back-to-back walks. That didn't miss by much, but it was still out of the zone. It ran out of the zone. And now with runners on first and second. By the way, down in Washington, Zach Greinke's scoreless streak has continued. He's through 5 today. Phillies last saw him in Los Angeles.
Is he like 38 1/3 or something like that now?
36 counting today. They don't count the third, or they do count the third. 30, it's 2/3. 5 today. 15, 51. I'm sorry, 40 and 2, 41. 41. My math is really good today. Here's Casey McGee. And McGee hits one in the air to center field, playable for Herrera. And the inning is over. So 2 walks and a hit, 2 men left on base thanks to the caught stealing. We'll move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Marlins 5 and the Phillies 5. He was participating in the Tour de Shore. There he is, standing on top of a pillar of Bud Light. It's appropriate. And T. Murphy started and finished in Atlantic City. There's Murph. We got here fairly late last night. Pretty good jerseys that his team wore. Monies raised have been massive over the years. They do such a great job. And Murph is a part of that and has been for a number of years. And we do report, he gave me an update halfway through. Everything was fine, and then they did finish, so all is right in the world. He sent me a selfie at the beginning of the race, and as he said to us yesterday, the participation in the Tour de Shore growing more and more with each passing year.
It's a great thing they do. It's a great event. It is.
Well, I'm hoping to see Matt on that bicycle built for two.
The tandem
with you,
Larry Anderson.
With you or Larry next year. We need to pressure these guys for that.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Galvis, who homered his last time up. 5-5 game here in the bottom of the 4th.
We've already started working on that team, though, for the golf tournament.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Matt, we're going to walk home with a bushel of prizes.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm in.
Mike, you have to know that Matt may contribute a little bit. I'm really not going to contribute a whole lot. 2-2 pitch. Chopper over to the left side, surrounded by Echeverria. And McGee applies the tag. And there's one away. Well, in honor of Greg Murphy, it's time for the Major League Notebook, brought to you by St. Joseph's University. And A-Rod ties Lou Brock on the all-time hits list. Well, the accolades this year for A-Rod, whether tarnished or not, continue. So he ties Lou Brock on the all-time hits list. And Max Scherzer's walkless streak comes to a close. That's a heck of a matchup today. Scherzer against Zach Greinke.
Absolutely.
Just from a numbers standpoint, A-Rod with 3,023 hits that tied Lou. And now he is behind Rod Carew, who's in 23rd place with 3,053. And Scherzer's walk of Yasmani Grandal ended a walkless streak of 39 2/3. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carlos walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Strike 3 called. Well, Herron's found something here. Maybe the life his offense gave him again, but he's retired 7 straight.
Backdoor 2-seamer. See where that's set up. In the corner.
Yeah, Carlos had 2 nasty curveball takes for 3rd strike last night on the inside corner. This one was paint on the outside corner.
Justin DeFreitas has 1 Major League AB. 1 ball, no strikes.
Let me guess, a strikeout?
Yes, I believe it was. It's that one in the air down the left field. He made contact. And it's 1-1.
To just think back to their high school days when they were the cleanup hitter on their high school team, right?
For most, they probably were. Got to get his legs into it.
You know they get kidded about these at-bats by their bullpen buddies after they happen.
Oh, rough.
Made contact 3 times.
His buddy
Maybe they're talking about it out there right now. What do you think they're talking about?
I don't know, but he's up in the box. He's trying to cut it off before it gets there.
He's peeping too. Look at that. 2-2 count.
Got him with a breaking ball. He was way out front, and the side is retired.
That's cold.
Yeah. 2 strikeouts for Herron. He's retired the side in order in the last 2 innings. 8 in a row as we go to the 5th. All right, guys, here we go. Who was the first outfielder in Marlins history to win a Gold Glove?
You know, I have really no idea. I'm going to say Preston Wilson just because he's next door to us.
And it's his birthday today?
Happy birthday, Preston Wilson.
Yeah.
Good call.
But it's probably not.
It is incorrect. Do you realize that it wasn't until last year when Christian Yelich won a Gold Glove?
Really?
Yeah, that the Marlins had their first outfielder win a Gold Glove. 2014. First pitch to Echeverria is a strike. It's 0-1. There's Preston. He wore a nice bow tie for his birthday. They were running around looking for candles today. I don't know. Did they find the candles, Matt?
I don't know.
Foul ball off the foot. They did find candles. Great if they were the ones that you blow out and then they light back up again real quick.
It'd be great if the fanatic came up and threw that in his face.
Or dumped a whole bucket of popcorn on him.
How come they have ties on and shirts and suits?
It's the getaway day.
Travel day.
We do that. Swing and a miss. Echeverria strikes out. And it's one away. Mike, go easy.
I was going to say, shh.
So 1 out here in the 5th, and Cole Gillespie is coming up. He's 2 for 2. Singled in the 2nd, singled in the 3rd. There's an RBI run scored. Hey, Matt. Do you know that guy?
I told him if I gave him some money, I'd get him on TV. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
Nice shirt. Welcome with a beer. Giveaway mug. Nice travel mug.
Pennsylvania Auto Theft Prevention Authority travel mug given out today. One ball, no strikes to Gillespie.
Somebody better check our guy down there. He's
Really?
choking to death.
Inside, 2-0.
Now, can our viewers hear that through their TV?
Oh, yeah. Yep. No crowd mic is better, though, than Turner Field in Atlanta. You could hear everything down there. You can hear when Bobby Cox was the manager, you heard everything he was saying. Up and in, 3-0.
You know, earns his pay today is that home plate umpire.
Whew. Yeah.
See, I'm going to go with the catchers.
Catchers would earn it today. Yep.
Yeah. Hirschbeck at first base does not look very happy right now. Arms crossed. Thinking, man, that's still some strikes.
Out of play, and it's 3-2. Well, you guys both played on turf. This would be a much warmer afternoon for the fielders on turf, right?
I'm sure Matt played on some turf in his day. They have to stand in the box of ice up the runway.
Ice water.
You know, you have the ammonia water.
Ground ball to second. Hernandez bobbled it for a moment, but recovers. 2 outs. I mean, would it get that hot on the turf where you'd feel it through your spikes?
Oh, my Lord, yes. I mean, you would have games in Kansas City on that old turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I didn't so much. I don't know why. But I saw guys standing in ice between innings.
Well, you had those special spikes. That's why.
No. Those Nike spikes who were heat proof.
Fouled back to the screen. Miguel Rojas, he is 1 for 2. He singled his first time up, drove in a run, fly to deep center field. His last time. Well, that's all you needed back in the day as one of those fans. Fill it up with water, walk it out to your position. You'd be
Put it in your back pocket.
Yeah, you'd be cool as a cucumber. Down the right field line, that'll slice out of play, and it's 0-2. Well, we update our conditions. Hot as the sun, 95 degrees. We were out on the West Coast last week when it was pretty hot here in the Delaware Valley, and it was very cool out on the West Coast.
Well, this is a typical summer day in Florida.
Yes, it is.
Just play golf on these days.
Hump's got his long sleeves on, and he's got a towel on his head, so he's a little chilly.
Fighting the cold.
Yeah.
Great thing about Florida is about 3 o'clock it starts pouring every day.
There's a foul ball. It remains 0-2. .31 pitches for DeFreitas. Pretty manageable at this point. Cole Hamels lasted only 3 today, allowed 5 runs on 8 hits. Back toward the middle. That's going to sneak into center for another base hit for Rojas, who came in hitting 136. He had 3 hits. He has 2 this afternoon. And Jeff Mathis will be the hitter.
Yeah, that's good at bat. 2 strikes on him and chop that ball up the middle. Get you a base hit with 2 strikes. 96 degrees.
10 hits now for the Marlins. And that one's popped up. Ruiz doesn't know where it is, and it's back into the Diamond Club. Not a guy. Perfect spot. Right place, right time. would think they're going to try to get at least one more out of DeFreitas, if not two, if possible. His high pitch count this year is 58 as he's settling into this sort of long man role. Araujo hasn't worked since the All-Star break. He's the only one besides DeFreitas. There's a liner down the left field line. That's a foul ball. Clean play on one hop by that gentleman.
Telephone.
He's either been told that he's on TV or he's going to take a
selfie of himself.
Going to take a picture. How about this? Rojas, I think, is done. He is going to be pinch run for by Donovan Solano. The heat seems to have gotten to him. Well, it's much hotter here in Philadelphia than it is in Venezuela. So Donovan Solano will pinch run for him. In the dirt, blocked by Ruiz. Goes right on by Ryan Howard, and Solano's going to get to at least third.
Solano probably hasn't loosened his legs up or anything.
And he does get to third base. They had a chance to get him if Cesar didn't drop the ball in foul territory. Well, it'll be an E1. So the go-ahead run is over at third base. Bob McClure is going out to talk to Justin DeFreitas.
Yeah, Ryan Howard has no chance on this. It's not even same area code.
Yeah, not even close. And on that particular play, nobody's backing up. So depending on how thick the foul territory is dictates where the runner will go. And Solano, he did all the loosening he needed to around the second base bag.
But you said it right, though, Tom. If Hernandez picks that ball up, there's a pretty good chance he's throwing Solares out of third base.
Yeah, he peaked.
Yeah.
Hernandez did at one point. Looks like DeFreitas is looking at his fingertips. The ball may have slipped out of his hand because there wasn't anything on that throw over to first. All right, so time to regroup with the runner at third and 2 outs. Get the batter here. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeff Mathis with Donovan Solano over at third base.
Well, you also kind of wonder why the throw's over to first base. 2-2 count on the batter, 2 outs. Guy just came out of the dugout.
Yeah.
Probably didn't get a chance to loosen his legs up at all, right?
That one's a hot shot towards short, smothered by Galvis from his knees. Throws him out in time.
Saves a run.
Sure did. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 fantastic play by Freddie Galvis. Watch it here, folks. He gets to it and has time because Mathis, the catcher, does not run all that well. And Freddie throws from his knees and throws a strike. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th. Stores go further. Bottom of the fifth inning, along with Mike Schmidt and Matt Stairs. Greg Murphy has today off. He has been trekking to the shore on his bicycle. We're in a 5-5 game. Donovan Solano, who came on the pinch run in the top of the fifth inning, remains in the game to play second base for Miguel Rojas.
As a cloud comes over the stadium and provides a little shade on the field.
It's not a really dark cloud with precipitation. Because we are feeling like we're living in Florida. And what did you say, 3 o'clock every day?
Yes.
All right, we're in that window.
I don't see any thunder clouds, thunderheads up there, but it is Florida weather right now.
Ben Revere will lead it off. Revere is 1 for 2. He's doubled. He's also flied to center. Pitches up high. 1 ball, no strikes. Ben's double in the second was his 13th of the year. Matt talked yesterday in the open as he bloops that one to center field. It will drop for a hit. Talked yesterday in the open, Matt, about his numbers compared to last year. His double total this year, 13. His double total all of last year, 13.
Well, he's driving the ball better. He's getting the hitters counts. He's getting the 2-1, 3-0, being more aggressive as he's hitting balls down the left field line, right field line, and he's showing some gap power as well. Bottom line, all Ben Revere does is hit.
Well, his average is now at 300 officially. I figure he's going to be going at some point in this at bat, right, guys? What do you think?
Well, unless Hernandez decide to lay a bunt down the first pitch. You'd like to see him give an opportunity to try to steal second base. Or we talked about it yesterday, do a hit and run. And there's the bunt.
Yep, up the third base line. It's a good one. Barehanded by Prado. Not in time. Hernandez beats it. Casey McGee says you better check it. Right now the Phils have runners on first and second with nobody out. Dan Jennings coming up the stairs. He is ascending at this moment. That was close. We've seen him do that again. Do that time and time again.
Great bunt. Great play by Prado.
That's too close. I mean, the
Tough
ball
call.
was arriving.
Very tough call.
If anything, he lands on his heel.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that's going to be awful close. They're going to leave it alone.
Yeah, they are going to leave it alone. They don't want to waste their challenge. Although I don't know if it would be a waste of a challenge at this point in a 5-5 game. Yeah, I think that to me is the inconclusive variety. I don't know. I may have challenged it though.
Well, we got Cesar off the schneid.
Yep, he ends a 1 for 25 with a bunt. And here's Franco, 0 for 2. He's lined out and popped out. One ball, no strikes to Franco. Broke his bat, roller up the middle. Echeverria scatters to the bag, and he turns the double play. Awfully close at second base.
Yeah, that's an excellent play. Flip to the second baseman and exchange to first. It might have beat it.
Yeah.
You really played that about as good as you could play it. Stop on a dime, turn, and throw and touch second base all in the same motion. Great defensive play. He's good. He's impressive.
Watch how close this is, guys. Watch the feet of Echeverria compared to Hernandez. Oh, that is really close. He got him, but it was close.
It's great camera work right there.
Well, Howard today is 1 for 2. He homered his first time up. And then he flied to left. And Ryan Howard is bringing the lumber. Brought to you by Yellowwood Brand Pressure Treated Pine.
Well, he is bringing the yellow wood, and that is the reason why right there. 445-foot moonshot to right field.
And that ball got a piece of him, and he was aboard. That was a cutter that just kind of got away.
I think it actually caught his pant leg.
Yeah.
What do you think? one disadvantage to wearing those baggy pants, or advantage, depending on how you look at it.
All right, so he's aboard. Dominic Brown is 0 for 2. A little out front of his first 2 at-bats. On the inside corner, it's 0-1. Well, Dan Herron is not overpowering anybody, but he just gets it done. He's won 149 games during his big league career, 149 and 127. He's been involved in a couple of big trades over his time, too. Shallow right field. Solano backpedaling. But he makes the catch. So the side is retired. No runs. 2 hits and 2 men left. Well, the Phils waste a leadoff single and then a bunt single by Hernandez. We're still tied at 5. Way he finished the first. Then Revere struggled through April, improved in May, then took off through June and the start of July. Getting on base at the top of the lineup is important, and he did so, reaching an on-base percentage of .452 in July heading into the break. Once on base, he continues to cause problems with his feet. Ben's first half success is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Ben's had a good day today. Hey, the characters, some of the characters from the Nutcracker that'll be appearing here in Philadelphia this December at the Academy of Music. We're out with the Fanatic, and the Fanatic was able to win the challenge and escape without a cut or a scratch. We celebrate Christmas in July. Well, guys, we go to the top of the 6th inning. It's 5-5 game.
It's amazing that we're celebrating Christmas in July and it's 98, right? The hottest day of the year.
We wanted to go as far away from the norm as possible. Elvis Araujo delivers a strike to Dan Herron. It's 0-1. DeFreitas 2 scoreless innings in relief of Cole Hamels. Nice job by Justin. 0-2.
You know, for some reason, bottom of the 2nd, I didn't think Dan Herron would be around.
No, I agree.
In the top of the 6th.
I think the Phillies were 1 hit away from getting Brad Hand into this game. And honestly, Dan Jennings showed an awful lot of patience to keep him in the game. After the Phillies sent 8 men to the plate, they eventually sent 9.
I agree with you, Tom. I think if either Hernandez or Franco gets that big knock, especially Franco, Howard was due up next.
Swing and a miss. One away. 94 on that fastball by a well-rested Elvis Araujo. Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers will be here, and Jimmy Rollins return to Citizens Bank Park beginning Tuesday, August 4th at 7:05. A 3-game series that wraps up on Thursday the 6th. It's Citizens Bank Pride of the Phillies print featuring the Phillies mural free to all fans. Nemours Kids Run the Bases postgame for fans 14 and under. Order your tickets now by going to Phillies.com.
Play with the Nemours guys Friday. Golf.
How'd you play? How did they play?
Good front nine, or good back nine, bad front nine. Nice people. They were sort of beginners. We had a good day. They're a new sponsor, I believe.
Inside 2-0. They sponsored opening day earlier this year. And of course, they're doing the post-game races. Ichiro is 2 for 3. He has singled twice. Fouls it back. It's 2-1. Mike, when he goes into the Hall of Fame, you've been up there for the ceremonies. Can you imagine what the crowds are going to be like for him?
Be a new record for cameras.
Incredible. Because the media have followed him during his career. Photographers, television stations from Japan in droves. He's retired for the second out.
That's a good play by Freddie. Real good play. But there's the example of what you were talking about, the off-speed pitch away, which we would think he would have a tough time with as he runs to first. He intercepted that baby on the way to first, basically.
It's remarkable.
That's a good play by Freddie on the run in the hole. Ichiro runs well.
Good exchange. Off balance throw.
Prado's been on base twice today. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now, is Prado on a long-term arrangement with the Marlins?
They acquired him from the Yankees this past offseason. I think this may be the final year of his deal. Low, ball 2. Yankees got him from Arizona last year. Hits that one in the air toward the right side. Ryan Howard's under it. Excuse me. And he makes the catch. Side is retired. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. Yep. You don't want to be selling hot chocolate today. You want to be selling ice cream and water and anything to keep yourself cool. ChevyDealer.com. By McDonald's. Double the love it at McDonald's with a double cheeseburger and small fry for just $2.50. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Bottom of the 6th inning. The shadows of HK. Well, Jonathan Payne is being helped out by the crew chief, John Hirschbeck. It's that kind of day where the towels with ammonia to open up the pores, try to keep yourself cool, they're going to be used by everybody. He's putting it inside his shirt collar. I said, all right, keep it. He's like a dad sending his son off to school or something.
That was nice.
Odubel Herrera takes up high. 1 ball, no strikes. He's done a nice job behind the plate today.
Absolutely. You know what they say, if you don't talk about them, they're doing a great job.
That one is ripped deep down the right field line. Hooking foul. He's right on him right now. I think this is what Herron does, though.
Well, he does. I mean, it kind of reminds you of Jamie Moyer. Throws a pitch inside, you hit it 3/4 of a mile foul, comes back the same spot, you hit it foul again. You know, sooner or later, a hitter's going to try to make the adjustment, jam himself, and hit a weak ground ball or fly ball somewhere.
That one gets away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the other part of Jamie's style that he's showing is his long mop top hair. Have you seen Jamie lately?
Yeah.
It's like he's going out surfing. It's like Zach Greinke.
He sent me a picture the other day and said he was working on his hockey hair.
Out to right field. Suzuki is there to make the catch and 1 away. Watch every Out of Market game live or on demand in True HD and over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.tv Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Well, Odubel swinging the bat well today. Wow, hit 3 balls hard.
Yeah, his last step at the fly ball to center went out to the track that Gillespie tracked down. Galvis takes outside. Freddie is homer today. He's also grounded to shortstop. That one is a fly ball toward foul territory. Echeverria casually glides over to make the catch. And there's 2 outs. There are 2 outs. I don't know what happened afterward. I guess they were trying to throw it around and Prado wasn't ready for it. Well, he did make that look pretty easy right there.
I know we talked about it yesterday, but he is one talented shortstop.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, their scouting department did a really good job when putting that deal together. I mean, think about some of the guys they got, though, in that deal, too. Henderson Alvarez, who, yes, is on the shelf with a shoulder problem, but that's a decent guy to pick up. Echeverria, of course. Aaron takes pitches low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was a 9-player trade, right?
Yep. The knees. Marlins got Henderson Alvarez, Anthony DeSclafani, who's now with the Reds, Yunel Escobar, who's now with the Nationals, Mathis, Marisnik, who they turned over and got Cozart for. Cozart's not with the big club right now. Two balls, 2 strikes to Carlos with Luis Garcia warming up. And a line drive caught by Dan Herron, and the side is retired.
Wow, hit it right in his glove.
This guy, give this guy some credit, boy. 5 runs in the second, but beyond that, he's retired the Phillies in order 4 times this afternoon. Carlos Ruiz finishes up the bottom of the 6th. We go to the 7th, all even at 5. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda Dealers game summary. Phillies scored 5 in the second inning, but the Marlins came back to tie it with 3 in their half of the third. Cole Hamels lasted just 3 innings. Last 2 starts for Cole, 6 in the third, 14 earned runs. So we'll move to the top of the 7th. Dan Herron's done a very good job for the Marlins. Jeff Francoeur comes into the ball game to play left field. Ben Revere moves from left field to center field. And it's all because the new pitcher is Luis Garcia. So double switch has Francoeur batting 9th. And Garcia batting 6th. Garcia 3-4, a 3.70 ERA. Elvis Araujo, 1 inning, 1 strikeout. As the first pitch is outside, 1-0. Yelich is singled today and scored. He walked his last time up. High chopper over to second base. Cesar throws him out, 1 away. These lucky fans are today's Citizen 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank.
I often wonder if that double switch thing sometimes gets overused. I mean, it's 1 out, it's just 1 at bat, and it's a leadoff at bat, right?
Yeah.
It's a leadoff at bat, and putting Francoeur in a leadoff at bat, kind of using up our guy that, well, technically the best pinch hitter in Major League Baseball right now. I mean, you know, there's a lot of ways to look at it.
My feel on the double switches is that you've already made it easier for the visiting team to make adjustments to the pitching staff. You know, and that being said,
Franco charges this one, bare hands in time.
That being said, we don't know who's shut down in the bullpen today, who's available, who's not available. So maybe that has a lot to do with double switching late in the game.
Yeah, we mentioned that Araujo hadn't worked but until today. Hector Neris, forgot about Hector, that he's still on the roster and is available to pitch too. Papelbon's pitched the last 2 days. Diekman's pitched the last couple days.
Giles has pitched the last couple of days.
I should say Giles, not Diekman. Garcia had yesterday off. Here is Echeverria, who is 2 for 3. Out to left field. Jeff Francoeur will settle under it. 5 pitches. And it's a 1-2-3 7th inning for Luis Garcia. Well, that was a good frame for Luis. Francoeur indeed will lead it off when we come back. Get a little offense. They've only had 1 inning where they scored. They scored 5 in the second. 2015's Food Service Breakout Player of the Year is W.B. Mason, providing amazingly low prices on kitchen disposables, consumables, small wares, and so much more from your new restaurant partner. Who but W.B. Mason? Well, as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, a pitching change for the Marlins. Dan Herron, after 6 innings, he allowed 5 runs in 1 inning. After that, if you put aside the second, he only allowed 1 hit. But in that second inning, he allowed 5 runs on 5 hits. So he'll give way to Brian Morris, who's 3-2 with an ERA of 3.12. 30 strikeouts and 34 2/3. So he's on to face Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah, you got to give the old veteran a lot of credit, Dan Herron. For
really?
Whether or not he was 1 pitch away from being out of the game or not, but I mean, he still gave you I don't know, do you call it a quality start if you give up 5 but you leave tied?
No.
No.
That's what you call
it was a quality effort, that's for sure.
Well, it's time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, it's about Freddie Galvis going up the middle versus Mathis making a very nice play to his left in the 5th inning. Tom, you said it earlier, Mike, you said as well, he had a lot of time to get up, make a strong throw across. But the fact that he got to the ball.
But he elected to throw from his knees.
That saved a run out there. That's why it's your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
All right, let's see if we can get our W.B. Mason delivery of the game right here. Jeff Francoeur will lead it off. It'll be Francoeur, then Ben Revere, and Cesar Hernandez against Morris. First pitch is over. It's 0-1.
So we could cover a lot of things right now. He could get the W.B. Mason delivery of the game and then become the Chevrolet player of the game. All on one.
Now you're thinking ahead, Matt.
Let's give him some extra PR.
Pitch is wide. 1 ball, 1 strike. Francoeur had the pinch hit home run in the first game of this series that helped the Phils to the victory. Just missed outside, 2-1. A totally different pitcher in style in Brian Morris compared to Dan Herron. Out to right field. That'll drop for a hit. A leadoff single for Francoeur.
Great hitting, low and away slider with a base hit. Wouldn't call that a pinch hit, would you?
Nope. Unfortunately, you can't.
Tell you what, but there's unfortunately a lot of scouts sitting in the shade somewhere down there that are writing positive things about Jeff Francoeur in their book.
Look at the head down. Following that ball all the way into the zone. Keeping that front shoulder in.
Ben Revere has 2 hits today. It's his 25th game this season where he's had at least 2 hits. Francoeur was moving a little bit on that throw over.
Now that you see, that's why I would have done that double switch and put Francoeur in left field.
Revere bunts, and it's foul. Fortunately, away from Prado. Phillies are trying to get that runner into scoring position. Revere is an excellent bunter. I don't know if that was a straight sacrifice, but it looked like he was trying to bunt for a base hit.
It almost looked like he was trying to bunt it hard enough past Prado because he was charging in. Brian Morris is a very hard guy to bunt against because you can top out at 97 miles an hour. He's got a devastating 92 mile an hour cutter. So it's hard to get that barrel out. You got to make sure you get out in front of home plate.
Chopper over the mounds. Solano has it, hesitates, throws, and Revere is out at first. Francoeur, though, is safe at second. Revere is saying that Casey McGee was off the bag. There was a point from Juan Samuel. I thought he hung on to the bag, but we'll wait and see.
Well, we're going to wait and see, but I'm really very surprised that they didn't get the go-ahead runner.
Yeah, they should have turned and flipped.
That's as good as a sacrifice bunt.
No question. I think what Solano was thinking there was, I got to throw to first to get Revere, and then we'll throw back to second and get Franco. But his judgment of how far down the line Francoeur was a little off, and that's the play you make when he's halfway,
right?
And you get time to return the throw,
or you get his momentum going back to
you got to run him back and then make the throw, or just tag him, forget about it.
Well, here's Cesar, who had a bunt single his last time up. He was trying to sacrifice, but was able to beat it out.
And good base running by Frenchie as well. Not running
Definitely.
the tag.
Oh, and 2.
The Phillies.
Matthew took a pretty good backswing from Hernandez in the back of the head.
Long look in with the count, no balls and 2 strikes. And he slaps that one over the head of the third baseman into left field. Rounding third, heading for him is Francoeur. He'll score. The throw cut off at second, and Hernandez is safe at second, and the Phillies take the lead. It's a 6-5 ball game.
Well, let's start with great hitting. That's the way he was spraying the ball around the field when he was hotter than heck a couple of weeks ago. The play by Solano comes back to haunt them. And also, Yelich makes a great running throw right to the second base. He got on that ball fast, and I believe would have had Cesar if Echeverria had cut it off.
Yeah, I was surprised that he cut it off because it had some zip on it. Unless Echeverria thought it was offline. Well, they scored a double and an RBI for Cesar, his 11th double of the year. Second hit of the day. And here's Franco with one out. Ball's one strike to Franco. In the dirt. Nice play by Mathis to keep Hernandez at second. Here's that play in left and what you're talking about.
Yelich is on this ball real fast, makes a running throw. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he doesn't cut that ball, it's going to be close. There's still great base running. Yeah. All around aggressive play. Good play.
Up high, 2-1. Phillies have already won this series. It's their first home series win since the second, third, and fourth. Overall, it's their first series win since the Yankee series up in New York. Two balls, one strike to Maikel Franco. Fights it off foul, 2-2. They've swung at ball 3 there. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Dodgers lead the Nationals 1-0. Greinke's scoreless streak is at 42 2/3. His ERA is down to 1.31. You know, he said that he had a year in Kansas City where he felt like he was a better pitcher than he is this year. The dominant ERA like that. Two-two pitch. Back toward the middle, under the glove of Morris, but right at Solano, who was shaded that way.
Where they had him played right. I think he was holding the runner on second, which is why he was playing there.
All right, so what are they going to do here with Howard? Jennings is up on the second step in the dugout. He's got Dunn loosened up in the pen. And it looks like they're going to bring in the left-hander. All right, well, he has faced Dunn a million times during his career, so he knows exactly what he's throwing at him.
He's faced him a million times, but it's interesting that maybe you might want to walk Ryan Howard.
I was thinking about that.
Get to Dominic Brown because the pitcher is due up fourth next inning.
Well, Mike Dunn's coming in. We'll see what kind of strategy the Marlins have when we return. Recipes from Phillies players and coaches. It's now available at the Majestic Clubhouse Store, $19.99. Or go to Phillies.com, or you can also call 877-GO-PHILS. From Our Home to Yours is the name of the cookbook, a collection of Phillies recipes. All proceeds benefit Phillies charities. All right, here's Mike Dunn. Now, it hasn't been often this year that a team has walked Ryan Howard intentionally. Let's see if they're going to do that here with first base obviously open to pitch to Dominic Brown. It doesn't look like it. No. Mathis is down.
And I mentioned it earlier only because, back-to-back lefties, if it works out, they get them out, so be it. But now it just allows Dominic Brown to be able to face possibly a right-handed pitcher next to him.
Yep. Cesar is way off the third base. I mean, way off. And Howard pulls it right into the shift. One pitch, and the inning is over. One run does score, though. The Phils take the lead here in the bottom of the seventh inning. 2 hits, and 1 man left. We'll move to the 8th. 6-5, Phillies on top. #1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop Nissan.com. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. The Phillies ball girls who have been at the gates today accepting toys for local charities, including the PAL. Out on the dugout, dancing with the Fanatic as Ken Giles warms up. 3rd straight day for Giles. He's becoming a workhorse again. 51 strikeouts in 40 2/3. We as fans, and I know I'm in that group, we get enamored with guys that can throw 100 or more. Ken Giles last night hit 100 miles an hour for the 2nd time this year. First time was in New York against the Yankees. And he fought his command a little bit last night, but then he found it. So he's on in this 1-run game. Facing Cole Gillespie, who's 2 for 3. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
What they say, Chapman from Cincinnati has thrown more pitches this year over 100 miles an hour than the whole league combined.
Correct. That is correct.
Take it, he does it 15, 16 times a game.
And in the All-Star game, it's all he threw.
Yeah.
That one's fouled back. 0-2. Think about the market for closers as we get closer to the All-Star break. Chapman, Papelbon, Kimbrel,
Rodriguez,
Francisco Rodriguez. Good point. That's at least 4, and I guess Clipper 2 with Oakland would be 5, but he's not, in the Chapman, Kimbrel, or even Papelbon mode. He's more of a setup guy, I would think, for somebody.
So then you start breaking it down of which teams need a closer.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yankees.
Well, the Yankees have Betances.
Right.
But they could probably use a little additional help in that pen.
Well, if you get a closer, you can move him
to the additional help.
To the additional help.
Some might say Washington.
Yeah. Well, though Storen's been steady, but yeah. I think Toronto is right up there, which you guys talked about. Everybody else, I think, is fairly set at the closer's role, although some people think that San Francisco is still peeking around looking for a closer, even though Casilla has been good for it. Out of play, and it remains 1-2. Nice catch, big man. Here we go. Yeah. That's a base hit into left field. Francoeur cuts it off. Gillespie's on his way to second. The throw by Francoeur, and it didn't get there in time. I thought he was nuts to try to go to second base on that.
Well, that was a good play all the way around. It's made a great throw. Got to give him credit for hustling out of the box.
Well, Frenchie was playing deep. As you see, a slider, middle of the plate. The only reason why he didn't get the throw up far enough because he couldn't really get behind it enough and playing off that back leg.
Yeah. And also, Gillespie kind of fell over the plate when he swung with one hand, had his momentum going toward first base, so he got a little good jump out of the box.
And that just shows you how strong Frenchie's arm is, because majority of left fielders wouldn't even barely make the grass on that throw.
All right, so the tying runs at second. Dietrich is here to pinch hit. We'll see if he's up there to bunt or just try to pull the ball and get the runner over to third. He'll stay in to play second base, and Ruiz will come out to chat. Interesting that they'll have Dietrich bat here, pinch hit here. They've already used Solano, but they've got two big bats off the bench in Bohr and Morse that they can use to bat in the pitcher spot, which is coming up in a couple hitters.
Or you could use them in the next position as well. Hit for the catcher.
And have Real Muto take over.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think with the pinch hitter, they would be playing to win as opposed to for the tie, right? Because Solano could have bunted him over.
Well, that's true. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Off the hands, and it drops in for a base hit. Galvis picks it up, and the runners will move up, or the runner will move up to third. And Dietrich is aboard. It's first and third with nobody out. Time now for our fan tweet of the game. Use hashtag Philly Photo Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's hashtag Philly Photo Data Strong Fan. Brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, that worked out for the Marlins. That's good base running by Gillespie. Kind of hanging out there to make sure that ball didn't get caught. That's why he couldn't score on that ball. First and third, nobody out. We got Kenny Giles in a little bit of a pickle here.
Mm-hmm. Giles scoreless in 18 of his last 19 outings. Has Mathis up, and Mathis hits it foul. It's 0-1. You have Bohr on deck. Good pitch, 0-2. outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the Phillies have the infield set up to either turn to or come home, depending on how the ball is hit.
I would believe the only place in the infield is first and third you're coming home with. Take 2 up the middle.
They're pretty shallow, though.
They are, but they're not. I don't think they're shallow enough.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Freddie's playing double play depth.
Yeah, Freddie just took a step back.
Yeah, Hernandez is playing shallow.
Ooh, the home plate umpire flinched on that one. It's inside and low, 2-2.
That's close.
That was close.
Boy, he's had a heck of a good game under the circumstances.
And a liner out toward left field. Francoeur coming in, makes the catch. Gillespie's going to try to score. The throw to the plate is off the glove of Ruiz, and the game is tied. Up to second base goes Dietrich. It's a 6-6 ball game.
It almost looked like that ball clipped the runner's shoulder.
I don't know, but I never thought it would be that
I
close.
didn't either.
Wow.
Tells you how strong that arm is in left field.
In fact, I was thinking, don't throw it home. Keep the man on first off a second. And he was thinking, I'm going to throw this guy out. And you know what? If that throw would have been on target, he would have thrown him out.
Let's see if it hits the runner right.
Yeah,
There.
it did. Good call, Matt.
But it still would have been a very, very tough short hop
Yes.
play for Chooch.
Well, Bob McClure out to the mound to talk to Ken Giles. It's a sacrifice fly, E7, to allow the runner to go from first to second. He wasn't advancing on the throw to the plate. All right, so we're all even at 6 now here in the top of the 8th inning with 1 man down. And what do you do with Justin Bour here if you're the Phils? That was the conversation, I would think.
Yeah, it is, and he's definitely pitchable. I'd rather pitch to him than Ichiro. Probably remind them first pitch, be careful.
We mentioned Giles had been scoreless in his 18 of his last 19 games. There's a strike. It's 0-1. Think about that pitch to Mathis that wasn't called a strike that would have gotten the first out.
I always favor pitching to the guy coming off the bench. He has not been in the game. He's a little BP or hitting off the tee down in the tunnel. For the most part, I just think he's much more vulnerable than someone that's been in the game.
Kind of wish you were managing against me. I would have seen more fastballs.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ground ball, foul. 1-2. Bour has a runner in scoring position here. And a foul ball, and it remains 1-2.
On the 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
We're going to chat about it one more time. Phillies bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Dominic Brown, then the pitcher's spot, and Freddie Galvis due up. Phillies been deep into their bullpen here today. Cole Hamels lasted 3 innings, allowed 5 runs on 8 hits. One ball, 2 strikes. Boy, they talk about trying to stay alive.
It's going to be his 47th pitch in the last 3 days.
He got him to go after a high fastball, and there are 2 outs.
It was a good one.
Well, there's that hitter off the bench, a little anxious on that heater.
Climb the ladder. Yesterday we saw him climb the ladder. That's the top one. Or was that day before? Day before.
Echeverria struck him out on a head-high fastball.
Yeah, with runners on 2nd and 3rd in last night's ball game. So Ichiro is up. Ichiro is 2 for 4. He has singled twice. He's grounded out twice. And he takes high. Marlins will bring in Carter Capps to pitch in their half of the bottom of the 8th, or their half of the 8th inning here. Boy, was he cheating for a fastball there?
Or was he setting him up for another slider? I think I'll agree with you, Tom.
Got to be a special hitter to set somebody up, set a pitcher up. Another slider to Ichiro. He missed that one. It's 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes with a runner at 2nd. Phillies and the Marlins tied. That one is hit out towards center field. Here comes Ben Revere. It's going to drop in front of him. Rounding 3rd and heading home is Dietrich, and he'll score. And Ichiro, with his 3rd hit of the day, has given the Marlins a 1-run lead.
Wow, isn't it amazing how you look back and Jeff throws on line, it throws out the runner at home. But if it isn't, it lets the winning run, potential winning run, go from 1st to 2nd. And it ends up coming back to bite you. Give Ichiro credit, with 2 strikes. It's a tough pitcher. Kenny Giles fought one off just over the infield.
Well, it's now 7-6 Miami, and Martin Prado, who is 1 for 3, will be the batter. The 250th 3-hit game of Ichiro's career, his first this year. He nearly picked him off. He's able to get back. He has been caught stealing once today. He's 8 for 13 on the year. Throws him a slider, and it's over for strike one. It's 0-1. This goes down technically as a blown save for Ken Giles, his third blown save of the year. Inside, 1-1. The other part of this too is we've talked about the Phillies bullpen being used with the injury to Billingsley yesterday. The fact that Hamels went just 3 innings today. They do have Hector Neris, who has not thrown since the All-Star break.
Yeah, and then when you say Kenny Giles has what'd you say, 62 pitches in 3 days? They're not easy pitches either. They're, you know, what they call max effort pitches.
Yeah, heavy lifting. Heavy lifting. Ichiro does not advance, and it's 2-1. Right now, 1 run is earned and 1 run is unearned, allowed by Giles in this inning because of the error. Bit high, and now it's 3-1. And now somebody gets up. Neris gets up to the bullpen for the Phils. There is Hector. Figure he had to get up eventually. Runner goes, pitches smacked into the hole on the right side. Ichiro's on his way to third. It'll be first and third with 2 men down. Well, Carlos is going to go out and buy some time here.
Martin Prado.
Yep. 5 hits in the series. He's been on base 7 times in the series. Got that inside out swing, and he's got it down to perfection.
Good hitter.
Yelich has singled today. He scored a run. He singled back in the 3rd. It's softly out to short. That should do it for the inning. Galvis makes the throw across the diamond, and the side is retired. Well, Kenny Giles allows 2 runs in the inning, 4 hits. Strangely, the 4 hits are a career high for an inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Phil's down 1. And the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's a Citizens Bank Pride of the Phillies print featuring the Phillies mural free to all fans. Plus, after the game, the Nemours Kids Run the Bases. That's for kids 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Well, some more changes for the Marlins. Dietrich stays in the game to play third. Prado moves to second. And the new pitcher is Carter Capps, a right-hander. He's 1-0 with a 1.42 ERA, 25th game for Capps. Mike, wait till you get a hold of this guy's motion to the plate.
I'm on it. I've already been on it.
Man.
Slow-mode it, everything, trying to figure this thing out. Yeah.
I don't know how he figured it out. I don't know how it was effective. He was 17-1 in college after making the transition from catching. One to Dominic Brown. And then he throws a slider, and it's 0-2. That's the pitch they say has been effective for him. And ready? Here we go.
What do you got, Mike? You broke this one down.
I don't know how he does it.
I think the hitter should jump back a foot.
I think Dominic Brown almost did. 0-2 pitch coming. Ball, 2 strikes to Brown. 0 for 3 today.
Whoa.
Lifts that one toward right center field. Ichiro will float over to make the catch, one away.
Well, Dominic raised 4 fly balls today, or actually 3 pop-ups and a fly ball. He needs to get back to driving that ball down, keeping those hands back.
Cody Ashe will pinch hit. Ashe hitting .245. 5 home runs, 13 runs batted in. Pulls that one foul. It's 0-1. As a hitter with that jump like that, what do you pick up? I mean, I know you're looking for arm slop.
I have no idea. I'm going to call him a cheater. Hey, you cheater.
That's a great question, Tom. I mean, he has the little pause.
Yeah.
You know, then the jump. You know, when do you start your movement? When don't you start your movement? What are you looking for? Well, bottom line, you're still looking at his right ear. That's where the ball's coming out of. I guess you start your movement right now.
It's still hard, though, particularly when he throws a slider and you're gearing up for 99. Well, he's a great story. You know, he's averaging, you know, they have the strikeout per 9 innings for a relief pitcher, 17 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Pretty good.
So 62 feet 6 inches. What do you think his delivery distance is?
It's a good question because there's been a lot of talk about that. Major League Baseball's deemed his delivery legal, but there have been folks who have charted it that he's pulled it to about 55 feet.
Well, everybody's not 62. That's just where the rubber is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, everybody's 57-ish, you know, 56.
So they think somewhere inside of 55 feet from the plate, which means his fastball, and there are smarter people than me that have
You got one at 100 right there.
100. So there are people that are saying that that's 100. Here's another one with it coming at you.
I wonder how he developed that.
Developed it in college. He was a catcher, and his coach said, "You ever think about pitching?" He said, "No." They put him out there. There's been a lot of articles written about him, and the one guy that keeps commenting on the articles is Leo Mazzoni. Leo Mazzoni's enamored by what he's seeing from this young man for one reason or another.
Probably will be more pitchers try it as time goes on, right?
I think there's no way There's no way you could watch this. Okay, I want to pitch exactly like that. Because one, I think you're going to go through, 2 or 3 different ankle injuries to get it down pat.
Well, we've seen Jordan Walden do it. Walden was with the Braves.
And the Angels. That's when I faced them.
Yeah, I think this kid's a little more exaggerated. I mean, do you agree with that, Matt?
Yes and no. I think the hesitation, the jumping towards the hitter. I think Waldo's a little different with his back foot. I mean, that is just different. It's almost like a running. Maybe a hitter should run up forward.
That's what Mike was saying.
He said
backward. That's right. He said backward.
Charge him.
Swing and a miss. He's down on strikes, so he strikes out 2 in this 8th inning. Phillies go down in order. We'll go to the 9th inning. We saw him the other night. He faced just 1 batter. Tonight, little different story. He faces 3, gets 2 strikeouts, and he introduces us to a brand new style of pitching. And juniors with a minimum 3.0 average. You can write an essay sharing how you are contributing to the common good through service. 2 winners selected each month of the season will be honored on the field as an extraordinary scholar. Nominations accepted on a rolling basis through August 3rd, 2015. Go to Phillies.com/scholar for more information. 7-6 Marlins on top. We move to the top of the 9th inning. Hector Neris will take over. And Neris, 5 games so far in the big leagues. An ERA of 4.05. And he will face Casey McGee. Foul tip, and it's 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the Phils need to keep this at a 1-run ball game and give their offense another opportunity. Ruiz, Francoeur, and then the top of the order in the home 9th. It's up to Neris to quiet the Marlins here in the top of the 9th. Fly ball center field. Ben Revere. And 1 away.
I think it's safe to say that Casey McGee will be glad to get on the plane and head to Arizona.
Yep, 0 for 7 in the 0 for 7 in the series, 3 walks.
Hit by a batted ball.
Made some mistakes in the field. Here's Echeverria, who is 4 for 12 in the series. the inside corner. Swing and a miss, 0-2, 93 from Neris. Neris has got a devastating changeup, so to be able to throw that 93-mile-an-hour fastball like that and couple it with the changeup, it's effective as he's in the strike zone. In the dirt.
How many pounds you think Carlos dropped today?
Got to be at least 10 or a dozen or so, right? Both catchers. 1-2 pitch coming. Chopper toward the hole. Scooped up on the backhand by Galvis. Throws not in time. Echeverria beats it. Good effort. Third hit for Echeverria. Let's see if they decide to review this. It's pretty close. Oh, he's out.
He's out.
Pete McCannon is going to say, I want to review that. He can request it at this point. He hasn't used a challenge.
No, clearly
he's clearly out.
Great pick by Ryan Howard.
Well, they've already looked at it up in New York, so this should be a pretty quick review. Bill Welke and John Hirschback, those are the two veteran umpires in this crew. Hirschback is the crew chief.
Why don't they just tell the why can't the
they have to make it official.
Electronics guy or operational guy or logistics guy or whatever you want to call him, why couldn't that be an official person?
It's a good question.
And
Freddie Galvis makes a great play, great throw.
Play. Oh,
Short
yeah, he's
hop,
out.
But look at that. That's a great pick by Ryan Howard.
It's not an easy play. So this will be an out, and it will not be the third. And here, look, they already have a decision. He is out. All right. Excellent play by Galvis. Echeverria is looking at it right now thinking, really? So circle that one. A couple of very good defensive plays today by Freddie Galvis at shortstop.
Absolutely. You know, we had one that went a little unnoticed earlier in the game, too. Here I go.
What position
Cesar. I was thinking Casey McGahee. Cesar made a great backhanded play up the middle with a run on third and 2 outs earlier in the game, too.
On the Ichiro ball. Gillespie takes down low, 1-0. Gillespie has 3 hits in this game. He has scored a couple runs. He has an RBI.
Oh, there's been a lot of good plays today, but Jeff down the truck picked the right one for the Hyundai defensive play of the game. Freddie Galvis up the middle.
That was a very good one.
Very good.
One and two. Boy, good fastball today from Hector Neris.
Good fastball and good movement on his fastball.
Fly ball right center field. Ben Revere. And the side is retired in order. All right, so last chance for the Phils. They've won the first 2 games of this series. They're trying to pick up a series sweep. Let's see what they can do when we return. That guy, Carlos Ruiz, will lead it off, then Jeff Francoeur. Phils will have one chance here to get A.J. Ramos, who took over as the closer for the Marlins after the first few weeks of the season. Steve Cishek was the closer. Ramos is much different than the guy you just saw, Carter Capps. He stays on the rubber a little longer and just uses it traditionally, but he's got an excellent off-speed pitch.
And that would be the changeup, Tom.
Yep.
And Mike, fastball 91-94, slider 81-83, curveball, and a very good, like you said, changeup, which he throws anywhere between 84 and 87.
So it'll be Ruiz to start. Ruiz, Francoeur, Revere. Carlos is 0 for 2, 0 for 6 in the series. He walked his first time up. And scored a run. Phillies scored 5 runs in the second, and then added 1 more in the 7th. They took a 6-5 lead. First pitch is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. By the way, the game has gone final in Washington. The Dodgers have shut out the Nationals 5-0. Zach Greinke, 8 shutout innings in that game. His scoreless streak is up to 43 2/3. And just like in Los Angeles, he opted not to finish the game. Could have had another shutout. So 43 2/3. Earl Hershiser's record scoreless streak is 59 back in '88. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outside, 2-1. Whoa, that one got away, I think.
Just a bit outside.
See the glove? Ball not going there. By the way, Greinke did throw 119 pitches.
Okay, so that's why he didn't pitch the 9th inning. But against the Phillies, he was less than 100 pitches.
Altitude.
Three 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, so the tying run is aboard. Jeff Francoeur has 1 at bat today. He is singled to right. See if Pete McCann decides to run for Carlos. He could run Blanco because you still have Darren Ruff available to pinch hit. Or Cameron Rupp if you need him, if you're going to exchange catchers.
Church will probably stay in the game until he gets in scoring position.
Breaking ball, 1 ball, no strikes.
Outfielders for the Miami Marlins are playing extremely deep.
Yes, they are. Ichiro is the shallowest of the 3. In the air to left center field, way back there. How about a walk-off home run? Jeff Francoeur. He is learning to be a hero here in Philadelphia. The Phillies come from behind and they win it 8-7 here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Unbelievable.
And it could not happen to a better guy.
They love him. I'll tell you, I think it's hard not to love this guy.